James gunning down Scoops and the aftermath. Next up on Just to Talk So, let's talk about it. And welcome to the Flicks, Picks, and the Nitpicks. And I am your humble host, Low718. And we gotta get right into this one. This is something that I really wanted to discuss for quite some time. And I might break it up in certain sections so you guys can kind of get to where I'm coming from. First and foremost, I fell off the Scoop train bandwagon, not for any personal malicious reasons. To be quite honest, it just started turning to something else, at least the energy that I got. Instead of us really focusing on the movies, the films, the storytelling, and art, and the art there is in doing it, and also the business aspects of it, it got into being more of a mudslinging between quote unquote fans and the industry, and it started to really start evolving or devolving, or to be honest, the veil might have been rolling up on it being more about YouTuber gangs, cliques, formations, squads, riders, and nations, and crews riding against each other, with the veneer of this being about the love of movies. And then people with political agendas find their ways into it. And make no mistake, I'm not going to sit here and act like the film industry isn't partially to blame for setting the table and or also being willing participants in the game there is between the two, because it's starting to become more of a game than an actual interest or hobby of loving films. I've been creeping back listening into a lot more YouTuber streams that I actually like and find interest in, because a lot of these channels are the reason why I created my channel, because I just wanted to get into the talk, I just want to get right to it and be part of the conversation, and also give it from a perspective that I have. I feel like I have a pretty unbiased passion for films, so I don't ride for click squads or any of the sort before I get into the film. Is the film good? Now, I have certain biases when it comes to the things that I am particular about, like comic book movies, and this is where a lot of this energy is coming from. No other areas and arrogance of filmmaking do you see so much attitude and malicious arguing and bickering over films that have absolutely nothing to do with us outside of what we've purchased. Now, make no mistake, I'm not going to disregard anybody's personal childhood attachments to these films. Like some people have argued, it is our modern folklores. So it is what it is. My biggest thing is if this is about loving films, how come we're not talking about it? Now, we could argue the social political atmosphere that incubates the things that ruins the decision making of great storytelling. These are all fair game and things in which to discuss. My biggest thing is before we even just make it that kind of conversation, the rise of the scoopers in this space has spawned some personalities, a lot of personalities, some big names and movers and shakers behind the industry. I mean movers and shakers in terms of the scoop game building, because they've annexed a lot of people within the industry that will feed them information that they have to filter through to see which is the most credible to present to their audience, because this is still a business and they want to stand on their business, and as they should. And keep it in mind, this is a business. But this is where the crossroads of the obvious and a personal agenda of malintent collide. As in what happened with the Kevin Smith situation in terms of scoopers who felt they had the accurate information of what his show was about in terms of the He-Man, the Masters of the Universe revelations, if you will. They felt they knew what the story was about. I'm not even going to get too much into it. It's on the channel, but they felt like it was going to be more centered around Teela and the whole female replacing male heroes type of trope. Were they accurate? Not exactly. Not exactly accurate. But even if they 100% were, the issue they had was that because Kevin Smith quote unquote lied and said they were inaccurate, he not only owes the scooper that spearheaded this an apology, a kissing of the ass of everybody else that believed them. No. His next film should not be seen. They're basically canceling him. This is the guys that are anti-cancel culture, canceling a guy based not on his films. No. Because that's not what it's about. It's about how he made them feel when he told them that their favorite scooper and YouTube channel was lying or inaccurate about his show. And when it turns out, just for the sake of the argument, because they weren't exactly right at all, to be honest, but it followed Teela, but it was about He-Man. And He-Man when he came into the series, because they had to follow through her lens. Basically, it was following the story through her, because He-Man, they set it up where He-Man had, spoiler, died. She had to embark on a mission of self-discovery that tied in things for deeper cuts of the universe that people that might not have known or known about these characters. This is such as a toy, something to sell for toys. They also, when they finally reintroduced He-Man, it was clearly about it, because every episode they spoke about it, and he dealt with flashbacks. If they would have had this movie about He-Man mostly focused on his flashbacks about losing Teela, you guys might have flipped it depending on how you felt and said it was a Teela show, because He-Man can't stop talking about Teela until Teela shows back up at Life in the Middle. Now it's all about Teela, and you guys would have probably more than likely said that, because you seem to have made up your mind already. Because that was wrapped around, that argument was wrapped around political agendas. And people don't forget, hey, even if, and this is why I say, even if they were right, the scoopers were right, and he lied to the people, said that they were wrong and it's not true, and it turned out they were right. What did you expect when, forget the backlash of hearing about that? No. Why would he tell you a scooper is right about his film and his show, and ruin the point of watching the show with all of you guys spoiling it? And since you've made up your mind, you didn't even like it, though you didn't go watch the narrative through, you're going to tell everybody not to see it. It's trash way before it even comes out. And then here we go again. Same thing with Spider-Man, except that you didn't have this attitude for Spider-Man because you liked Spider-Man and how that came out. Notice how that worked. Because when Andrew Garfield said he wasn't going to be in Spider-Man, and I think even Tobey Maguire might have even said it himself, but definitely Andrew Garfield. Where's this big public campaign of you owe us an apology? No. Why is that? So this comes off the heels of a response that James Gunn had towards, I'm pulling up the tweet now, I guess replying to Geekosity Mag. Now I heard about this, but I thought this was actually on the website because I went to the website to look at it so I could get a screen grab for the show so I could talk about it earnestly. But could find it. Googling it, it came up as a regular tweet that James Gunn sent directly to Geekosity Mag based on what he probably seen on Geekosity. And I thought that was the one that he had replied in the comments. But I might have been merging two stories together, so I'm going to pump my brakes. There was one where he replied, but it wasn't this. This isn't the comment. The comment that he did tweet, and this is what I want to focus on, is, I'm not sure if you're purposely lying or being taken advantage of by someone lying to you, but as I've stated on here before, no one knows what's happening at DC Studios right now other than me and Peter. That would include writing up any new contracts for anyone at this point. Now, this was in a direct response to there being a post on it, if I'm not mistaken, suggested that Superman, as in Henry Cavill, has signed up for multiple films in 2023. What he, and let's go over it again, is saying verbatim, because I want to get it right. Oh, matter of fact, it was underneath the tweet saying Henry Cavill's new contract includes Superman TV appearances. And this was, I guess, his final straw. And you can't get mad at him for feeling that way. You can't really get mad at him because you're talking in definites. You're legitimately talking in definites, man. And I'm a person that enjoys scoops. But you're speaking in definites. And even if this is your scoop and you guys write continuously about it, he's saying, I don't know if you're being disingenuous, but no one knows what's going on this side. We don't know how airtight they made it a point to keep it. That's the point. In other words, even if it turns out that they do sign a contract after the fact, you still don't know what was going on. So whoever was telling you whatever they think they knew, he just got tapped. It's only been a month. Only been a month. At this recording, it's finally now being the first of the month. So we definitively cannot sit here and assume that we know what James Gunn's plans are. And that's all he's saying. I don't see anything wrong with him stating that. I don't know why it's become an issue or even a point of contention. Bottom line is he wrong for telling you don't know anything about his stories? Now, the argument has seemed to become something wrong with you. You don't know nothing about leaks, and scoopers seem to feel like it makes sense to argue with him on his vision. That's the problem. There's something we're tipping into a place of insanity. And the reason why I suggest this is because the attitude that, and it's not even the scoopers, the people that are riding for their designated scoopers. I watched a channel where she was like, yo, I'm going to go deeper on this, but I don't want to say too much names, but one major scooper was saying that James Gunn now is wrong for coming at scoopers. because we move the needle of the conversation. So now you're going to place yourself in the space of a higher importance than the millions of people that don't watch you, that still goes to see films that make it $1 billion. Our fandom does not translate into that kind of box office. These are the facts. Even the scoopers have said this. We are a niche part of the fandom. So who are we to assume that we should know everything? Not only that we know everything, we should know everything. And then the next attitude is well, you should go tell us what your plans is. Then that's not how this works. They figure it out amongst themselves. And then when they got the plan, then they let you know what you need to know on a need to know basis. That's it. If no contracts have been written up and you got scoopers leading people to believe or misleading people to believe that things are happening that has not been written down in stone yet. Keep in mind, I'm very well aware of Henry Cavill making his comments, and we definitely will talk about that. The bottom line is how dare we think we know more than the guy that's the architect that just got the job and they're figuring it out. That's the point. Why would they make any contracts written up when they haven't figured out exactly to which extent which character will go where? Like, is Black Canary still happening? I'm sure it still is some level of development, but until James Gunn gets figures out where everything and how this universe will be set, it's a dub for that right now. You can keep on writing that shit and talking to Miss Smollett as much as you can. Shit ain't cutting the mustard here, baby, until we got an idea of where this universe will go. Does it not make sense? And I'm just talking to the fans, the people that's out here, because you should know this. It's like me telling you that I got scoops of what's going on in your bedroom. It's possible. But if you come out and say, yo, that ain't happening, you can't get mad that people gonna believe the person saying it. So unless you got pictures and some real things to back it up, you're just talking shit till shit comes out. Is it possible that James Gunn is lying? Oh, fucking course. And as he should. But I don't think he's lying for the simple fact that he made it a point to make the tweet directly to you guys. And that shows that he's getting annoyed with this side of the fandom spreading misinformation, because you will get disappointed already before we give you our plans if that's not the facts. That's the point. So no matter what we may think about us as YouTubers moving the needle of everything, and we do move the needle of a lot of things, make no mistakes. That's what I said, Scoopers, you could start fanning the flames of disinterest amongst the minions that will go out into general population and discourage other people from seeing a film or having an skewed vision of it, or flooding the interwebs with misinformation that the layman will go on to and making assumptions about something that would never happen because you're speaking in definitives because you got the scoop. And there's nothing wrong with scooping. I'm not saying I got any issues with scooping. I don't care if it's right or wrong. I'm not even caring if you're peddling hope, because I want the Snyderverse restored. But I know I pay attention to people, and I start to notice when you're just catering more to me as a fan base as opposed to being a scooper. Because if I'm all Snyderverse related and I only make scoops focusing on everything about Snyderverse and it coming back, I look biased on my face, even if I'm telling you the truth of my scoops or I'm being genuine, that I feel like this is authentic information, because it behooves me to keep on pushing that line, because I'm a big Snyderverse I don't want to say believer, but person that believes it will happen though, but want it to happen, and enjoyed his films and his universe and how he set it up before it went left. But now if I'm a scooper to say, hey, this ain't gonna happen, even if it's against my universe or what I bank for, then that makes me a more honest scooper. But if I come into this wearing my Snyderverse jacket and everything I'm saying sounds like it's more hope for the Snyderverse, I look on my face like, of course I'd say that, because that's all I care about, because that's all I want to happen. And I could be extremely biased in my reporting, even on my own scoops. And I say that to say this. Again, this is a very impassioned environment. We really want the Snyderverse to come back. So, of course, we're going to latch on to any and all information that shows some positivity of it happening. Hey, man, this is a kid before Christmas. We want it to happen. I'm going to keep waking up hoping it to happen, hoping I can't. We want what we want. But at the end of the day, no one knows right now. It's only been a month. That's the one thing that is a fact, and I can't get mad that James Gunn felt the need to say that, because I'm sure he kept his squad airtight. I'm talking him, his brother, and might be the only other person that has even a concept of what's going on, and Peter are probably only people that's in that room really seeing what he's trying to put together, and his trusted squad. And I'm sure his squad is very tight. That's probably why he felt so comfortable to say that. It's probably no more than like 5 people that are really have an idea where they're going to go with this universe. Is he wrong? I don't think he's wrong for telling people what it is, but we're going to get a little bit deeper into that, because I felt some ways that there was a YouTuber that really felt like Gunn was wrong for it. But here goes the aftermath. Now he's going to have YouTubers with their cliques and squad hunched over his shoulder, micromanaging a plan that they've never been in the room to look over his shoulder to micromanage. So they're going to browbeat and Walter Hamada him on his way out if they have an inkling that they're not going to get what they feel that they want. And then the worst part of it is they're going to do it holding a Zack Snyder banner. And that's the worst part. And you're going to soon enough live out everything that was in that damn hit piece that didn't stand on barely a nugget of reality, but it will find itself in time coming to fruition when they look back at the fandom. And it's not fair, because unfortunately there's a lot of coins on the table. For a lot of people, it's very advantageous for them to keep this Montagues versus the Capulets thing within the fandom. And I see it so much. It's the reason why I eased back from watching a lot of my YouTuber streams, the ones, my regular streams, some of my favorite ones for a while. And I kind of leaned a little bit more into my movie streams that had less clicks in it, if that makes sense. You know, more, these guys don't have that kind of stir up amongst their squads. Like, you don't really see their headlines pushing or stoking the flames to get people to go back and forth between not only YouTube channels, but also executives within the industry that you would want on your side. And the biggest reason for this all is, if you ask me, is this is just poor marketing. We're not marketing ourselves in a proper way to be dealt with in a way that the executives would want to not only recognize, but want to appease. That's the point. We'll dig deeper next time. But you guys, because the aftermath is already spilling out. People are already preparing to throw James Gunn underneath the bus if they even get a whiff that he's doing something that they don't like. And that whiff could be motivated by anything. A rumor, a YouTuber, to a scooper, to all the above. As long as it gets enough traction, they'll talk about it, and everyone will be gathered up around listening to everyone trash, roast, and shit on James Gunn. And then we'll be back here again. But let me know what you think, guys. Am I onto anything? Do you feel where I'm coming from? Leave it in the comments below. And as always, like, share, subscribe. See you next time. And as always, till I have a better outro. Chill.